In 1842, Charles Dickens visited Canada and sailed along the St. Lawrence River. This is what he wrote. "I was amazed to see floating down the stream a most gigantic raft with some 30 or 40 wooden houses upon it, and at least as many flagstaffs, so it looked like a nautical street." Raftsman. 2,000 timbers to our raft, cargo its own craft. Our floating village whispers down the lake, white sails sagged, without a thin wind's breath. Fiddle still, men snore toward toilsome day. As our floating village slips along the lake, cook fire dances in the camboose, sleep shanties cast shadows. With fiddle still, toilsome men snore toward the day, clothing soaked, spills and splashes. Will we ever dry? Cook fire dances in the camboose, sleep shanties cast their lines. Like me, some 20 men wear clothing soaked by spills and splashes. We will never dry. Awake, we'll break our raft to narrow cribs. Some 20 men like me snatch soaking rest before we ride the timber slide to skirt the falls. The raft in narrow sections, one by one, 100 cribs sluice downstream, along the timber slide and past the falls. Stiff fingers numb with cuts, the 100 cribs downstream. One by one, caps snap on pegs, our raft reforms. Numb fingers stiff with cold, sweeps jammed in corner oarlocks. We steer our rebuilt raft through tides and currents. The sweeps in corner oarlocks veer our craft from ragged rocks. My 2 cousins pitch into tide and currents. We kneel, mourn the souls lost to torrents. 2 young cousins crushed on ragged rocks. In Quebec City's coves, Hay and Harbor, we fold sails, mourn the loss of those young souls, feed our vessel cargo into druggers, battered square-rigged hulks, coffin ships. Booth's wife died unexpectedly at the age of 57, and leaving in the big stone house just him and their youngest child, a girl of 11, whose nickname was Chunk. Rainy May in the Booth house. Her black skirts swish in my deaf ear. Velvet crushed on the seat of her lady's chair. Her eyes red-rimmed in Chunk's swollen face. Cook asks me whether beef or mutton. Closet empty but for her scent. Crammed shirtwaist box in the cellar. Her firm step on the stair. Silver-backed brush with a long gray hair. Rattle of her watch chain on the marble-top commode. Hairpins like Hansel's breadcrumbs, leading nowhere. Bed sheets chill on my skin. At the mill, men shout, belts rumble, steel wheels screech. She's not dead there. As time went on, he outdid his peers and outlived them, and stories spread about him. Tales from the tavern on the flats. I mind the time he broke both legs jumping a ditch at the farm. 80 if he was a day. Had his son set bones on the spot, then went back to work. After a month or few. Then there's the tale of the tip. Go ahead, we all like how you tell it. Booth arrives at the lumber camp, see? A man takes charge of his horse, and Booth gives him a mighty 10-cent piece. Says the hostler, your son Jackson gives me a quarter. Says Booth, he's the son of a rich man. I am an orphan. I heard it was 25 cents and 50 cents. I heard 50 cents at $1. Remember the slick-suited lad looking for the old man in his office? He's out about the mill, says the clerk. Lad tiptoes around in his fancy shoes, checks through the lumber piles, the grading room, finds a little man down in a pit mixing mortar. Please, sir, could you direct me to Mr. Booth? I'm Booth, said the man in the pit. Every year, Booth spent a week or two up in the forests in the fall. It was his favorite time of the year. He described it as his holiday, where they were working out plans for the next year's cut. He did that even when he was 98 years old. And that's what this poem is about. He went in his private rail car, which served as his office and living accommodation, and which was called, like this poem, Opeongo. Wafts of warmth from the Opeongo's steam heat. Lamplight pooled on polished ceilings. Headquarters, he calls this spot on a valley siding, which some would call a stop on the way to nowhere.
We're going the right way,
Outside, the shanty farm has been put to bed for winter. Strip feels gray and hard under the high, cold moon. How sweet the moonlight sleeps, Gertrude used to sing. Lines learned in Miss Harmon's school for young ladies. Shakespeare's worked no part of his farm boy schooling, and not missed his reading hours for newspapers. Montreal, Boston, New York, Chicago. Better he read of the present, look to the future. Tomorrow, he'll walk in the bosom of his forest. Talks at dawn with his manager. Plans for the season's cut. Again, he'll tread the needle-cushioned floor. Breathe the tang of pine. Tonic for his sluggish old man blood. Now the tall fur hat and matching barrel-round coat. Clank of the metal stair down to track gravel. Where are you going? Cries Nurse Craig. You'll catch your death. Chilled stillness, his breath a silver mist. Stars, fine silver seeds, sown across the dark field of sky. Thank you.